Good morning and welcome back to the Big Bear Yarns podcast, episode number 25. I'm Anna, the dyer behind Big Bear Yarns. I live in Essex in the UK with my sister, my two dogs and my cat. This is my place on the internet where I just chat about everything I've been knitting and crocheting, reading and listening to, whatever else really. I'll get started. So, I do have some finished items this week. They did come in under the wire. One of them was finished just yesterday afternoon, deliberately because I had to try and follow my self-imposed target. It's a completely arbitrary goal. Like, nothing will happen if I don't fulfill it, but so I finished these socks for my sister. These ones are socks number 39 for the year. They are knit in purely my own hand dyed. So the main colour, the light blue, is my colour River. Then the grey is Dread Persephone, and the green is Artemis Forest. I do have some, this is on the sparkle base. I don't know if you can see the sparkle, it never shows up. My new sparkle base is better because this is Stellina, which does sparkle in real life. It is very sparkly in real life, but the new one I have is Lurex, so it's like a thick strand of the sparkle through it, and that one is gonna pop. So I've got 2 skeins of River on the sparkle left, and I will not be dyeing any more of this until probably into October, probably. And I have a couple of minis of Artemis Forest. Oh, that's really blown out. That's not what it looks like. That's what it looks like. But I don't have any. I sold the last 3 Dread Persephone a few days ago, so they're gone. But Dread Persephone probably will come back to the shop because it is a lovely grey solid. It's a solid, it really is. I've knit a whole pair of socks in a Dread Persephone. Do I leave my, oh, here they are, my little nuggets. I was sure I had my little nuggets that I had left over. So this is what's left of Dread Persephone. It is a solid, but there are tiny little, I don't know if you can see them, yeah, there's a little red bit there, the little break in the dye, which I love. I keep dyeing it the same way because you get these, look, it's a solid with these tiny little pops of colour. So this nugget, I'm not even going to bother weighing it, it's probably only about like 5-6 grams. It should be under 10, so I can go into my blanket. Then this is what I have left of River, a nugget, and this is what's left of Artemis Forest. So they're all going into my granny square blanket, which hopefully will be finished by the end of the year with the number of like scrappy socks I'm knitting and the scraps that are going up into that bag. I haven't checked. I haven't crocheted on that blanket in, I don't know, about well over a month or 2. I can't really remember how long. Sometime. But I'm feeling like I want to get it back out again now that the weather's starting to turn cooler. Hopefully it stays cool. We're heading into some lovely like 18-19 degree weather at the moment. So I'm going to be getting lots of yarn dyed. I was going to talk about the socks, wasn't I? Yeah. So they are knit on 2.5mm DPNs, cuff down, 64 stitches, 2x2 rib, 20 rounds. I did 5 rounds each of Dread Persephone and Artemis Forest, 20 River, 5 and 5 again. Then I did a slip stitch heel flap and I did 5 rounds again of each colour. Then I did 40, and I did 5 again of each of them, and did the toe. I do just the Crazy Sock Ladies vanilla sock. I do the toe from the Crazy Sock Ladies vanilla socks on DPNs. That's what I'm trying to say. So they are $39. And then, so tangled over here, give me a moment. I've been going through all my fixed circular needles, so I got this sock block all tangled up in them. Okay, these ones are socks number 40 for the year. These are for me, 2 of them. They are knit in drops yarn. They are knit in confetti cake, which is in drops Fable, and it is colour 924 confetti cake. When I checked a few days ago, this colour was not in stock anymore. It's sold out. It does sell out quite a lot. I remember I'd wanted this colour for a few months actually, and every time I checked on Wool Warehouse it was always sold out, and so when it came back in stock I just bought it immediately. And then the heel and the toe is in this lovely purple, which is again a Drops Fable Unicolor, and it is colour 104. These are socks number 40, so I am up to date now at doing my 5 pairs for every month of the year. July was a bad one, I did 3 pairs, so I've done 7 pairs of socks this month. Very proud of myself. Some of the ones from July were very close to being done, so there wasn't that much knitting. So these are for me. I actually only did 17 rounds, so 2.5mm DPNs, cuff down. I did 17 rounds accidentally, not on purpose. I do like 20 rounds. 17's fine, but you do, I feel like there is quite a difference in the way the cuffs look, but maybe that's just me. 2x2 rib. I did 50 rounds for the leg, and I did again a slip stitch heel. I did the turn, and then I did the gusset decreases. I do 70 rounds for my foot. I'm a UK size 7, women's size 7. I do 70 rounds for my foot, including the gusset decreases, and then the same toe. Try to trick YouTube into giving me a nice thumbnail. So that's everything I've finished. Now I'll just go through my works in progress. Some of these might not have had any work because I have been powering through with a couple of other projects to try and get them done. Okay, so, oh yeah, this scrappy sock I'm knitting on my ADHD premium 10cm needles. They're lovely and scrappy, I love them. Sometimes when I pick all the colours I think, oh, is that too much variation? But I really like it. I'm gonna love wearing these. These are gonna be for me. I was going to give them to my mum, but I want them. I'm becoming quite selfish with wanting to keep all the socks for myself. Maybe it's because my mum and my sister don't really wear their socks during the summer, so when they're not wearing them actively, it kind of makes me think they don't deserve them. So maybe that will change now that like we're heading into the cooler weather. But yeah, so these, let me see if I can remember everything. Okay, so we have Tern, which is my colour. Then we have, oh, that's blown out. Mango Loco from Molten Yarns. I do like Molten Yarns colours. I will say one thing from my own experience of their yarn recently. I've had some quite bad bleeding with, not the orange, I've never had a problem, not the orange is absolutely fine, there's been no bleeding at all. The pink one that I knit socks earlier in the month, again, no bleeding. However, their blues and greens tend to bleed a bit, so I'd watch out. I used a colour catcher in, so I always put, I wash my socks in the washing machine, and I put 4 colour catchers in, and the only new pair of socks in that wash were these blue socks, and the colour catchers were saturated with that blue, and a little bit has run into a couple of my other pairs, which is a bit frustrating, and it happens, but that's happened a couple of times with their yarn, with the blues and greens, so just be aware of that. So then this one is Book Talk Girls, my own colour. That is from Pickle and Twist. It's a Christmas colour sock set. I can't remember what it's called exactly. This one is Rainy Days, that's my own. Then you have Winter Sunset, again my own, and Rose Tea, again my own. And again my own is Odin on a more rough, it's my Regia undyed one, so it's a rustic one. I thought it'd be good for the heel. And then I'm back to Rainy Days. Oh, I'll show you this bit actually, because you can see Rainy Days a bit better. There you go. That's every colour I picked out for these socks used, and I'm starting to repeat. I'm not going to repeat them in the same order, as you can already see, because Rainy Days was here and it's right here. I'm not going to repeat them in pattern, I'm going to repeat them randomly. Depending on how much I have of each of them, I decided to, I wanted to use up every bit, hopefully, I can, of the rest of Rainy Days. So if I'm doing the 25 rounds, I'm doing 30 rounds in the sock, and the 24 of those rounds are the gussets, so they're much bigger, so hopefully I'll use up almost all of this and it can go into my blanket. Again, unless I state otherwise, they're all 2.5mm, 64 stitches and cuff down. So, I don't think I've done any more on this sock. I can't remember. So, it's this, hand-dyed, not my own, it was a gift. I've done almost the entire sock, I just have to do the toe. It's lovely. So this is Twin Knits. It is an 80% merino, 20% nylon. It's the same meterage as my one as well, it's 400 meters per 100 grams. Twin Knits, when this was purchased, it was purchased off of Etsy. However, they do have, if you see on the ball band, their own website. So I'll put a link to their website instead of their Etsy shop down below. If I remember. Why does my face suddenly look so weirdly coloured? What's going on? Who knows? So yeah, just have the toe to do, and I'll be on to sock number 2. Again, it's all the same things as the other one. 64 stitches, cuff down, heel flap. I always do a heel flap. The heel flap, to me, always looks best. I love the look of the slip stitch heel. Although I am thinking about trying a garter heel. because I think that feels like it's going to be more cushiony, softer, like bouncier, because garter always makes things thicker and bouncier, I think. Garter stitch is a very comfortable stitch to wear. So, Dito's down here next to me. Oh, she's so cute. I love that girl. Okay. I'm not that prepared this morning. All my projects are just scattered in random baskets, so oh yeah, this is my own hand dyed, so I am biased. This is Pink Pony Club. I'm not I'm not so much for pink as such, but if I do go for pink, it'll be pink. I guess I'm not a pastel pink. I think if I'm going to go for pink, it's going to be, no questions, pink. So, did I ever say what it is? It's possible I didn't. Pink Pony Club. These ones I'm knitting on Odin Fluff. I'm knitting on my standard merino sock base, which is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. You get 400 meters per 100 grams. I do love how this distribution of dye is just exactly what I look for in a variegated yarn. This is variegated speckled yarn. This is exactly what I look for. The camera always makes some of the colour pooling look more intense than it does in real life, but even so, it's still, I just love it. Look. So, I've sold out of the DK sock, of that. So I'll show you a couple of colours I do have there, the bases I do have left. So it turned out the purple seemed to strike and hit on the silk. That's just the way it goes sometimes. This is what it looks like on the silk sock base. I don't know if you can see that sheen, that like luster on the screen, but the silk base is just beautiful. So this base is 60% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 20% silk, and it's slightly thinner than my standard sock base, so you get 425 meters. With 425 meters per 100 grams, I would either go up a needle size or add a few stitches. So I knit a pair of socks. They do fit me, but they are tight, very tight, getting over my instep. I don't have a deep instep. So I knit a pair of socks last year in a base that was 425 meters, and I hadn't realised until I was partway through the sock, and I thought, I'm not going to be able to get these on, but I did. But I would add, like, I do 64 stitches, so I'd probably add, like, even just a stitch, even just adding like 4 stitches sometimes can make a big difference to how things fit. So yeah, over on the silk sock base, I still have it on the regular 75-25 4-ply. Let's see how the pink hit with this one, and that. So I have, I think, one standard merino sock, and I do have the zebra sock. So zebra yarn is just undyed with black. So if you see the black spots, that is just a strand of black yarn that is in the skein. So the black never dyes, it stays black. And it just adds this lovely variation to the yarns. The zebra sock is slightly thicker on the other hand, so maybe consider taking out a few. So like I do 64 stitches, so I probably do maybe 60 stitches, which is 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, and you get 365 meters per 100 grams. So yeah, I'd probably do 60 stitches, otherwise my sock might be a bit too big. Pardon me, let me have some water. Oh god, it's been 20 minutes already. I don't know why I'm coughing. Probably hay fever. I've been very snuffy the last few days, and it does make me cough sometimes, so obviously what it is. And that's the only knitting I've got in that basket. Oh yeah. I'll try and be quicker with these ones. That would be here forever. I say try to be. It's one of those annoying dry coughs. I think I'm just going to have to fight it, because the more I cough, the more I will cough. Did that sound like the more I'll walk off? Or was that just in my head? So, this is Yarn Smith's merino sock. Sorry about that. Shade black, 2K000. These are for my sister. I'm doing these a bit longer than I usually do, because I feel like she needs some longer socks. So, doing 50 rounds for her leg. Yeah. I'm onto the heel flap on this. That's so black, I love it. I do actually really like this back. It's so black and it's so soft. It would make a lovely garment. But why am I thinking that now we're heading into the darker weather? Make a really nice cardigan with that. And they do give you bulk buy offers, so I can't remember what they are off my head because it depends on how many you buy. However many you buy, more than one, you get a discount. I can't remember what they are, but you can check on Wool Warehouse. Oh, blown out. Which could be good for a garment as well if you're buying like 5 or 6. 64 stitches, 50 rounds onto the heel flap. How unprofessional. As if I'm ever going to be professional. Oh yeah, these are scrappy ones too. I love knitting the scrappy socks. I don't like weaving in the ends. I'm going to try and get into a good habit of weaving in the ends every time I finish a sock. Weaving in those Christmas sock ends. Oh, that was a lot. I just had to sit down and just power through, because if I stopped, I won't go back to it. So these are down to the heel flap. They are just scrappy socks. So I did, these are all Cascade Heritage in their self-patterning yarns. So I don't remember what they're all called. I've got a couple of ball bands, but not really. 20 rounds for the cuff. I did 20 for the first colour, then I did 5 for the next colour, then I did 15 for the next round. Hold on. No. I did 15 and then 5. Then I did 15 for the next colour, and then I did 15 again. I'm so confused. Let me have a look. Let me just look. How can I not count? Okay, so 10, 15, 5, and then I did 10 and 5, another 5. So I did 15, and then, is that a different colour? No. So I did 15 for most of them. And I'm going to do the heel flap in this colour. I got very confused. I got very confused with these two. It was only because I had to hold them up to the, because I started them both on the red. If I'd started them on the blue and the green, I wouldn't have been confused. I realised this is a lighter red and this is a much darker red. When you see them knit up, they look like different reds, but when they were in the skeins, I don't know if actually they don't look that different on camera. They have less of a difference than in real life. In real life, this one is a much more, a much like poppier red. This one's more of an orange red. So yeah, I won't show you all of the balls again because we're already 30 minutes in and I've still got a bit to show you. Oh yeah, I don't know if I think I probably made some progress on these, but not much. So first sock finished. My own yarn. Let me have another sip of water before I start coughing again. Okay. My own yarn, sold it out. I went into like, I don't know, too much detail about restocking it last week. Just babbled away for ages. So it might be coming back. It might not look the same if it does. That's what it boils down to. But I will photograph it when I dye it, so you'll see if it looks different or not. So, first sock done. I'm only doing 20 rounds for the leg, so 20 rounds for the cuff, 20 rounds for the leg, and then I'm on to the heel flap. That's it really. These should be finished for next week. Hopefully, I'm hoping so as well, because we're not quite in boot weather yet, so I would like a few more pairs of, although I will have to hold on to these until the end of the month. Or maybe by then we will be in boot weather, hopefully. We'll see. So that's Wildflower. Won't put that bag on the floor because wooden needles and Dita will probably start kicking them all around soon. Snap them. This is a new sock on the needles. This is my own yarn, but it's one of a kind, one of the first colours I dyed. It's so hard to show. I mean, it doesn't really matter because you can't buy it. But this is as close. This is pretty close. It's just a green. Yeah, that looks nothing like it. This looks. It's nothing like that. I've done 5 rounds of a cuff on 2.5mm needles. They are my Knit Pro thing. And 5 rounds. I'm going to do, because this is a very boring, just all over, just one colour, I'm going to add like a little bit of a pattern. I think maybe similar to the ones I did on the orange socks, where I do, but I'm going to do them left and right. So down the outside of the right foot, I'll do the little garter pattern, and then on the outside of the left foot, I'll do it again, I think. Yeah, that's it, really nice. And that is all of my socks. I've got a lot of socks I need to cast on because I've got my yarn just sitting there waiting. I will get to it. Okay, so I'll do all the knitting first. So the other thing I have been knitting, Tita's eye drops. She has chronic dry eye. Her eyes, basically, the vet said, don't produce any moisture. Like, they do the little thing in the vet. So if you've ever had a pet be checked for dry, like their eye fluid, they have these little strips that they stick to the surface of the eyeball, and you leave them on there for a certain amount of time, and then it measures how much liquid. It basically didn't register. There was no liquid any time it's been tested. She has really dry eyes. So I have to give her drops like every hour, and these are the ones I found that work pretty well for her. They can be used on all sorts of animals. You can use them on cats, and yeah, suitable for all animal and avian species. So they work very well. They don't irritate her eyes. It's hypochlorous antiseptic, which it is alarming because they do kind of have a bleachy smell. So when I did smell the bleach, I panicked and thought, what have I put in my dog's eyes? And I googled it, and it's perfectly fine. It does smell like that. But these ones are about £8 a bottle, and you get 60ml, which lasts around about a month, compared to some of the ones I'd purchased from the vets previously, which would be about like £50 a bottle, and they'd last you like 10 days. So with it being a long-term condition, this is, if you're looking for anything to wash your pet's eyes out with, I would recommend these ones. That was a tangent. Classic. So I've made some progress on my jumper. It's a cardigan. So I've cast it off the back. I hope you can see it. No, that's not good. There you go. So all 11 colours are in. I cracked into the 3rd cake of the Drops Kid Silk. So I've ordered I ordered 4 more. Why did I order 4? Must have been a reason I picked 4 rather than just like 2 more, because I already have one I haven't cracked into. So there's one complete one, and this one I've used, I don't know, I did like 10, 15 rows with it. Oh, I did think about doing some fluffy socks. I thought about adding a strand of this to some socks and doing some like fun warm socks. Maybe that was the reason. Or I don't know. But anyway, there's 4 more coming. Which is the Drops Kid Silk let me get the, oh, I've got a ball band here, have I? Yeah. So it's the Drops Kid Silk Unicolor. It is, it's colour 38. No, it's not showing. Colour 38, I think it's called Chalk. And I like the Kid Silk pretty much. It's 75% mohair, 25% silk. And it makes such a snuggly jumper, like I really can't wait. Now that I've done the back, which is the big part of the knitting of it, it's, let me see what it's gonna, drop in my Kid Silk. Let's see. So, oh, oh my ghost. So, give me a rough idea. So, shoulder will be about here. So it'll come to, let me move back a bit. So it's going to come to just about where my skirt is. So that's not too bad, is it? I had been, I was telling you last week about how it sheds. See? All of that. I think it will shed less once it's been like washed a few times, but what was I saying? Yeah, I was hoping it would be a bit longer, but that was my own mistake. But it doesn't have to be long, really, does it? I could also add, once I'm done, I'll see what it looks like on. I'll make up the front panels and do the arms and try that on. And then I can always add some ribbon to the bottom to make it longer, couldn't I? So I finished the front panel, the back panel. Because it's in broken rib, to me broken rib is far easier to do flat than in the round, where you have to do, it's a bit of a pain. So I've started on one of the front panels, and I am trying to decide, because I had thought initially I'm going to do it as a v-neck cardigan, but I've been seeing some pictures of just like a square front where the two bits just kind of flop over a bit, and I do quite like that. But then this isn't exactly a reversible pattern, so it doesn't look like some of the ones I've seen in have been moss stitch, where it is reversible, isn't it? So see, this is the back of it. It doesn't really look as nice as the front. So this is a 2x2 broken rib. I'm onto one of the panels, which is half the number of stitches, so it's going so quickly. I won't go through all the yarns. Let me grab that. I won't go through all the yarns I'm using for it, because there's 11 of them and they're not available to purchase. So it's a lovely colour though, that chalk. I do like it. When it was in an all black outfit, a cardigan that you maybe held 2 or 3 strands of these together and knit could be lovely. No. I have too many things on the needles, on a hook, or planned. I've purchased a yarn for it. Stop coming up with new things you can make that you have to buy stuff for. Stop it. Okay. So, I think the only other thing I've been working on, which I have actually, I'm almost done. I say almost done. I'm almost done. I've done the body of the cardigan, so it is almost done. I've done the body and I've seamed it, so let me show you. Penella, if you're watching, stop looking now. So, get this. Oh, no, it's off. Okay, so, okay. put it on so you might be able to see it better. Oh, look at me, covered in fluff. Okay, so it's let me move this chair out the way so I can step back further to see better. Yeah, so it's this was all crocheted in one piece, if you haven't seen before. All crocheted in one piece and then just seamed under the arm and then down the side. So if you did this not striped, you wouldn't have, and you did that 100-gram balls, you wouldn't have that many ends really to weave in. You'd probably have like 20 for a whole cardigan, so that's not too bad. Yeah, back of it. It's got such long sleeves intentionally. It was meant to have super long sleeves because my sister always borrows one that I made for myself, which I was worried it wouldn't be, no, let's stick on track, which is really big and snuggly. So she wanted the same, so I'm going to do like cuffs about this long. Not super long, and I'm going to do them in the same hook that I did the cardigan in because I don't want them to cinch too much. Yeah, it's a bit like stiff at the moment because it's acrylic, but once it's washed and tumbled it will be soft and it will just get softer. It's really warm, lovely. I'm off centre, aren't I? Let's go back. I'm still, I'll just leave it, it doesn't matter. Yeah, so I've done, so I need to do the cuffs, the bottom hem, I need to do the ribbon on that, and then the neck. So, not that much more to go. I should hopefully have the arms done today. Get out of this. So, I'm a little bit behind schedule because if you remember, I did say, oh hello Odin. Baby's just coming to the door. Is this phone on a wonk? Oh, if it is, it is. I'm just going to leave it. I'll probably make it worse otherwise. What was I saying? You will remember, if you've watched previous episodes, that I have been hoping to have this finished by September, by the beginning of September. Obviously, as I'm recording this, it is the first day of September. I did not do that. However, a few days late isn't too bad for me, but I do have a whole jumper I need to crochet for her as well, for my mum, to give her. I will do it. I've got a couple of weeks, so I should have it done. I will have it done. The problem is I can't work on them in front of her, so it limits the amount of time I have to work on them. I have to do it on times when she's been out of the house, and she's a teacher, so she's been on her summer holidays up until today, which means that she's been home the whole time, so the amount of time I've had to actually work on it the last 6 weeks has been very minimal, so that's why. But now that she's back at work, I should be able to crack on. Should I go through? No, I'll go through all the yarns I've used for next week because, fingers crossed, this will be finished, have all the ends woven in and been washed. Maybe that's pushing it. I should have done all the ribbon. Maybe the ends wouldn't all have been woven in yet, and not the rest. But I aim to have all the ribbon. I'm not doing super long ribbon because it's already quite a long. I was worried I'd made it too short because she wanted it to be. What is that noise? God, my fridge is making some odd noises. Hopefully it's okay. Yeah, it's definitely long enough. She wanted it very long and cozy so she could sort of like wear it around the classroom and things. So that is everything I've been working on. I'm going to try and knit the next, because we're heading towards Christmas, should we put it, like we're not there yet, but if you want to make things to decorate for Christmas, I find it's better to try and do them as early as possible, because otherwise I tend to never finish them, because then by the time Christmas passes I'm just not interested in doing them anymore, so they're not going to be done. So I'm going to do some more of those little Christmas trees. Oh, here they are. So I've got a whole drawer, a whole drawer of shame full of wine corks and gin top bottles and things like that for my little Christmas trees. But I want to have a little forest of Christmas trees in my glass fronted cabinet in the front lounge. So I'm going to intend... Odie, you okay? Get ready to howl, I think. Odie, it's okay, come in here, baby. He might start howling. It's okay, it's very cute when he does. Well, I have a whole forest of these, and I've got some of this yarn left, and I can make them in other yarns as well. This is a cotton, I think it's Yarn and Colours, the Aran weight, which is Epic. I think this is just called Forest. So yeah, I've got all these wine corks. They're not actually secured in yet. I fill them, I don't know if you can see, with my yarn ends. Although I've got a big jar of yarn ends in the front room that's so full. So I stuff them with the yarn ends so they don't go to waste. And you push them in, just sort of like really snook them in there, and like to make that kind of hole in the yarn. Then I'm going to fill that with hot glue and pop the cork in, and then that should stay. I mean, it might just stand up on my hand with it, but they do stand up. So I'm going to get some of those done, because I want to get through these scrap little bits of cotton. I don't really want them in my stash anymore. So, anything else? Oh yeah, I will be looking at casting on soon, because I do want it. A hat in Falling Leaves, the silk one. This was skein. This was one of my skein that got snagged really badly, and it kind of ripped through a couple of the strands, so I couldn't sell it. So I took it out to make a sample, because I haven't actually knit anything. Itchy nose. I haven't actually ever knit anything with Fallen Leaves. I've seen a lot of lovely things made with it, because this was a very popular colour last year. Pumpkin Spice had previously been the biggest, my best selling yarn. But then Fallen Leaves came in, and in less than a year it sold more than Pumpkin Spice had in a year and a half. So I mean, I'm not surprised. It is a beautiful autumn colour. It's just, it is just like, it really is. It turned out so perfectly for the feeling I get when I walk through. There are these gardens, the seafront where I walk the dogs. There's 3 gardens that go all the way towards the beach, and one of them is just, in the autumn, is just full of like fallen leaves, and I took so many photographs of those leaves to try and create exactly that feeling of looking at them. And this is that feeling of looking at where you have like the green leaves and you have yellow ones and you have orange and slight like red. It's just perfect. It turned out so perfectly. So all that being said, I'm going to knit myself a hat. I never treat myself to the silk base. I always do my samples in just a standard merino sock or sparkle sock, because the silk is more expensive. It's much more expensive to purchase the undyed as well. That's why it costs so much more for the customers. So I never treat myself to it, so I thought I'd make myself a hat, because otherwise I'll just, with my clumpy feet and how much I wear my socks, I'll just wear through them. So a hat will last longer, is what I'm trying to say. So let's go. I didn't do any more knitting on my top. Let me just get on here. If I was going to do this, if I was like a professional, I would do all the editing and pop all the pictures in the screen. But if I did that, I'd put something up every 2 months. So I have finished book 2 of the Legacy series by Marissa K. Rorick. Book 1 is Reign of Shadows and Endings. Then book 2 I've also finished. That was Storm of Secrets and Sorrow. And now I'm on book 3, and there are 4 books, but book 4 hasn't been released yet. So this is Tempest of Wrath and Vengeance. Are you gonna load? I haven't really got very far into the 3rd book yet. It seems good so far. I really can't say anything because it's just anything I could say from this point onwards is massive spoiler for how things will turn out in books 1 and 2. I'm really enjoying it. So, what have we been watching? I don't know. What am I thinking about? There's one thing we've been watching. Just that. Nothing else at all. not even like, we almost watched something else yesterday, but then we were too tired because we're old ladies. We're old ladies and it was a school night. So we've been watching Below Deck. We're on season 11 out of 12, where, spoiler, there's no longer Captain Lee as the captain. It's now Captain Kerry, who is a very good captain as well. Captain Lee is my favourite of the Below Deck captains. He is number 1. However, when it comes to being like a proactive captain and keeping the peace on the boat, he wasn't the best for that. Still, in my heart, the best captain, but Captain Kerry is more proactive, like Captain Sandy in the Mediterranean ones. She's much more hands-on, maybe because they are younger, so they'll do things like help out in the boat. But yeah, I like Captain Kerry. He's an Australian captain. So yeah, we're almost finished with that. We've only got 1 more season to go. I think it's about 15 episodes per season. Gosh, we've watched a lot of Below Deck this summer. We started probably when we visited my sister at the end of July. So in a month, we've watched 11 seasons. Oh well, it was fun. And I don't think there's been anything else we've watched, or no. So, oh, I might get in just under the hour. Speed it up. So, I'll show you. Oh, I have for UK customers only at the moment. I have a 25% off sale on selected yarns. So some of my yarns only have maybe 1 or 2 left. Or they're not going to be brought back to the shop. So I'll show you. I've got a couple of them here for you to see. Pumpkin Spice Latte, which is micro striping if you do it in socks yarn. Let me take the ball band off. Pumpkin Spice Latte. So it goes from this very dark brown and fades down, down, down to very little brown. So this is how, and then the other end is speckled with orange and brown. I will be bringing this back probably, but at the moment I only have one left, so from this last dye batch. So this one's on the sale until I restock with new ones. Just because I've got whole new tubs. Did I just shout that? Apologies. I have whole new tubs of dye that I've ordered, so there can be some, especially because it's been a while since I've had to order these colours, so there could be some variation in the dye colour when you order like that. Like with yarn, you have dye lots, and you have the same thing with the physical dye. So I'm not sure if, like, for the speckled it's not such a big deal, but for the brown it could be different. So this is 25% off. I also have late to the party. I only have 2 late to the party left. I do actually have a pair of late to the party socks I could show. I knit for my sister, but I haven't given them to her yet because it's not her birthday yet. But I'll bring them down for next week, late to the party. You can see late to the party sock sample and the listing on my shop and on my Instagram if you scroll down. So late to the party. I really love this colour. There's just something about that bright aqua, and then the green, like the kind of like moss green, like the kind of moss you get on in a garden on like a step, you know? Just feels like. And then the blue, and the purple. I just love it. No, you can't keep it. I always want to. This is my problem. I look and I start thinking about what I could do with it. No. You can't keep everything. So, late to the party, there's 2 of them. This one is not going to be repeated. So, hit myself in the face with that. So these ones are just a little sock set. There is a sample of them knit up that is on their listing as well, but I gave those socks to my mum ages ago. So it's just this blue, it's a blue, what do you call it, fade. It's a fade. They basically start with the dark blue. It's all the same shade of blue, and it's just in different concentrations. Oh, my mind today. Different concentrations of the same blue. You have 420 grams sock yarn, and there are more than these 4 colours in the sale, but I'm only showing you 4 today because you're going to sit here for ages. So there's Springtime on the Sparkle. It's only available on the Sparkle, and this colour was meant to be mint lemonade, but it did not turn out as mint lemonade, but it did turn out gorgeous, and I could repeat it for the other colours. However, it's not going to remain a shop colour, but I did give it a name. It's Springtime. And it's just yellow and green speckles. Only available on the Sparkle. I have 2 left, I think. I do love it. There might only be 1 left soon. I do think my mum would like a pair of these. The Sparkle, this Sparkle, not the new Sparkle, this Sparkle is 78% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 2% stellina. So those are some of the colours in my sale. I'm going to have a little sip of water and I'll finish off. I'm going to put some pictures up later today of the trip we took to the Cotswolds the other week. It was a lovely time. What was I going to say? It's gone. So I will say goodbye now. I think that's everything I intended to talk about because I forgot to bring some things with me. So there'll be some new colours coming to the shop. Hopefully I'll be able to show them to you next week before they come into the shop. And there'll be some restocks of some colours because we're getting really cool weather, so I can get on with some dyeing. I'll see you guys next week. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my video, please subscribe and like it. That really is helpful. I appreciate every comment I get, even though I'm terrible at responding. I mean, if you've watched a few episodes by now, you should know I intend to respond, I really do, but I forget what I'm saying in the middle of saying it. So I'll be reading a message and think, oh, that's lovely, I need to respond. And then like a magpie lands in the garden, and then the comment is just wiped clean from my mind, and I just think about the magpie, and then something else happens, I forget about the magpie. So I'm going to try very hard to be better about responding to all the lovely messages and comments I get, starting now.